All right, this is Alan with Sustainable Intentions, Real People, Real Ideas, your second episode of this podcast. And I have the beautiful Miss Kelly Johnson here with me. She is actually my fiance. We should be married in November. We're very excited about that. And she is an inspiration to me in my life. She has been so supportive, and she is another person that really, is pushing to follow her dreams and do what she loves in the world. And so I thought, who better to interview with this whole podcast starting out than such an amazing person?
Oh, thank you very much. Very lovely. Thank you.
So, Kelly, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. My name is Kelly. I am a yoga teacher, and I'm actually from the northwest of England. And I was pretty much, I'm a yoga teacher. I love inspiring, giving. I'm a singer, and I am in a really good place, and I like to think I'm a bit of a self-aware queen, but that was not always the case. I came from a very kind of interesting background, in fact, that am I just going to go straight into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I came from a very kind of rough area with a mum who had mental health issues and a single parent. And it was pretty tough growing up. I mean, it was probably pretty tough for her being a mum as well. Now I have a little bit more compassion with it, but I was extremely lost. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I got kicked out, like friendly, kind of, shoved out at the age of 15, and I ended up living with two amazing gay guys, which I had a very flamboyant teenage time when getting drunk around the piano, very camp. And I had two jobs at the age of 15. I was kind of pushed to grow up very fast. And I was lost. And I remember, I haven't told this story actually, I remember when I was maybe 17 and I had no money. I think I probably spent it all on going out and drinking and stuff. And I had this pot of coins. And I was embarrassed to go to the shop with pennies and stuff, so I was trying to go to an arcade or somewhere I could make these coins into like £1 coin, so I wasn't embarrassed. Anyway, long story short, I went to the shop and it was closed, so I carried on walking along the promenade of Blackpool. It was really, if you know Blackpool in winter, it was really windy, it was pushing me and I was like kind of going against the wind, and I ended up walking to my mum's house. And I pressed, she was living in an apartment at the time, and I pressed like the little button. She was like, "What do you want?" Again, she was probably suffering and going through her own stuff. And I was like, "Oh, can you let me in? I need some help." And so anyway, she looked at me, let me in, and I just burst out crying when I got up there, and I really opened up to her, saying, "I'm 17, I don't know what to do with my life. What am I going to do? I'm wasting my life, I don't know what to do." And so, she was really supportive, and she was like, "What do you like doing?" And I was like, "Well, I like dancing and singing." And through a long conversation, she said, "Oh, I could get you an interview with someone in the entertainment industry doing similar stuff that she did when she was my age, like redcoating, which is like animation and entertainment host." So that day, I figured out that, okay, I definitely want to sing and dance, and off I went a few weeks later to Scarborough, where I got a job singing and dancing and hosting, and that was the beginning of my entertainment career. So I have my mum to thank for that, because she really helped me.
Yeah. And your whole family was quite showbiz oriented, right?
Yeah, my granddad was a Granada producer, so he worked with some very famous people, name dropping, the Beatles and Cary Grant and things like that. And my grandma was a singer and dancer in the war, so she was like a soubrette where you kind of sing. But she was one of the first people apparently in the 1950s that serenaded someone. It's a bit of a no-no. So she was, breaking through new ground, my grandma, who was absolutely amazing. And then my mum was like a con air, an entertainment host, for like Butlins and things like that. So.
Yeah. And so when you decided you wanted to sing and dance, you just went for it, yeah?
Yeah, to be fair, when we first started, did the job. There was a lot of great singers, so I was kind of pushed just to be a dancer, really. And I never really got massive amounts of training. I did at Phil Winston's, but not massive amounts. So I learnt on the go, but I always wanted to sing. And the entertainment manager was like, "You're not quite ready yet," so it wasn't easy sailing. It took me a while to sing my first song.
Yeah. But singing was something that you wanted to do, that you knew you wanted to do, very
100%.
much so.
Whenever I felt really lost and my mum was in her darkest moment, I always used to go to my room and sing.
Yeah.
So I got you, babe.
And so then from singing and dancing, you moved on to cruise ships?
Yeah, that was probably 17 to 21. I was learning my craft working at these jobs. So I wanted to be a singer straight away on a cruise ship, but I was so rubbish at rehearsals or auditions that I didn't really get the job I wanted. And so long story short, again, feels like 3 lifetimes, you know, when you're kind of talking about it. It feels like so long ago. So within the age of 17 and 21, I learnt my craft, and I was really determined that I wanted to go on cruise ships. It was the only thing I talked about, you know, it was my whole life. And then eventually I got a job, but it was as animation as well. So you sing and dance, more so hosting and doing games for people and that kind of stuff. And I got a job, and I was, you know, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because, you know, it was literally everything. I remember working at a casino in between, and one of the bosses was like, you know, "You talk about singing all the time, just do it. Stop talking about it, just do it." And this is another kind of foot in the door for me to travel. I was in Blackpool, and I remember having like moments when I was going out getting drunk thinking, this can't be life. Going to work on Monday, finishing on Friday, and then having the weekend to get drunk, and then to go around and round again. Again, I was quite aware, quite young, but it was just becoming a bit boring for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is a common thing that happens to us, that we get into that habit of doing the work week and then going out to try and have fun, to try and make up for all of this, you know, spent energy and spent time. We feel like we need to reward ourselves, or we need to do something to take our minds off of what we're doing, and so we go out drinking and partying with friends, and then all of a sudden it's Monday again and we go right back to it. I think basically everybody I know can relate to this from some point in their life or another, and it's just like, it's always, when do you draw that line? Because we always know, right? We always know, like, that it's not really serving us and it's not exactly what we want to be doing, but where do we get out of that, you know, and how do you step out and take those first few leaps onto that path? Because they're not steps, the first ones. They're like, you have to walk up to the edge and peer over and then like just go for it, right?
Yeah, it's a weird one really, because I think I mean, you could call me a deep thinker or whatever. I had my epiphany moment at 19. Some people have it a little bit later, but I think the catalyst was the fact that some really dark stuff happened to me, and the fact that in relationships, a relationship that I had, he cheated on me with 2 women. I actually walked in on that. And there was knives underneath the sofa, and God knows what he was doing with drugs and whatever, and it was a massive like, shit, I don't want my life to be like this. And that was the push and motivation that made me go, right, I need to get focused on cruise ships and do what I love. So I do think that in my darkest moment of why am I picking these people and blah blah, and again it didn't end there, that was just the bit that pushed me to cruise ships, that I think that's my motivation. It scared me.
And then how long were you on the cruise ships for?
For 5 years. I think maybe 4.5. I started with Royal Caribbean, and again I was a cruise director staff, and I did a few contracts on there, probably about 3.5 years. Travelled the world with it, and then I met a guy who was a bass player, and we collaborated together, because as much as I loved doing what I did, it was, you know, similar thing, ironically, to what I was doing in Blackpool, getting drunk, getting pissed, that kind of thing, and I was like, oh, and I was working a lot of hours as well, like a lot. So I collaborated with him, and then we ended up having a jazz band, and we went to a different cruise line called Princess Cruise Lines, and I was only working like 3 days. 3 days, no, 3 hours a day.
Oh yeah, 3 hours a day is much more of a sustainable schedule 12 for sure. No, it's interesting because it's the same thing really. Even after I decided to leave and to travel, I had been in this cycle of working way too hard and then going out and drinking, and then working way too hard and then going out and drinking. And like this was the cycle of life that I knew. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was good while it lasted, but I knew it wasn't forever. And then I left and I started traveling. And the funny thing is that at first when you start traveling and it's like I quit my job, I don't have any real responsibilities. I'm on my own. I'm in a beautiful place. I'm at the beach. I'm at whatever. And so then it's like, oh, well, why not have some beers, or why not have a margarita, like I deserve it. I worked really hard for a long time. But then that starts turning into a thing because what are we going to do? Okay, maybe I go for a hike in the morning, or I go surfing, or go for a swim. But then I come around like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, well, it's hot. There's nothing to do. Might as well have a beer. And so it's like that whole cycle starts over again. But now I don't have the work to keep me from drinking as much or partying as much. And so it's really easy to fall in the habit of just being, that guy showing up to the bar at 2 o'clock in the afternoon every day, and so that's not what I wanted for my life either. So then you have to draw that line again, like, okay, what do I really want? Like now I have the freedom to do something. So what do I really want from my life? And that's a hard decision. I think that's the toughest decision that we make.
So many. A lot of my clients are always wondering what's the purpose and what are they here for?
That's right. So clients, so tell us how you got into yoga, or the steps leading up to getting into yoga.
So cruise ships, became a singer, had another relationship with a really nice guy, and I was the one that made a few errors on that, and that took me to a really dark place. I say a few errors, I mean a massive error. And so I went back to England, really dark moment, worked at a little cafe in Polt-on-the-Fylde, and there was a manager who knew a musician that wanted to collaborate with someone. And on a Tuesday, I saved up all my money to go to Lancaster to rehearse, and we decided to make a video and put it out to some agents. And an agent came back from India and was like, would you two like to come to a 5-star hotel in India, have your really nice wage and live in a 5-star hotel and work like 5 days a week. And so I was there, and I was drinking and smoking still, and I was still very insecure. In fact, the bit that catalyst that made me, so I was in a dark, I was in a dark place. I went home to England. I did a talent show, and I did some songs. And remember, I was singing as a profession, and I went on stage and I think put way too much pressure on the actual gig. And long story short, yes, again, I got booed off stage, and it was literally a really bad moment in my career. Like I told them that I never sang before, but I gave them a business card saying, hey, I'm a jazz singer. It's like really embarrassing. And my mum and grandma were there, and they were like, oh, you look very beautiful. But in other words, you sounded like shit. I was like, oh. So I went home, cried in the shower, spoke to my singing friends, and they were like, it's just a bad day at the office. You have an option. Do you want to make this? Do you want to make this make you grow, or do you want this to define you, kind of thing? So that's why I collaborated with a musician. I thought, oh, the Beatles did it. Let's just go away and do like some kind of contract resident gig and get better. Because I know anything with repetition, you keep doing, then you get better. And singing, I mean, it's really starting. Everyone thinks now that it was natural for me to sing, but it wasn't. It took a long time. So then we got the gig in India, and then the hotel. In India, round the corner, which wasn't round the corner, it was not too bad. There was a yoga institute, and just happened to, 3 weeks into my contract, meet a lady called Jenny, and she said, do you want to go to a yoga lesson with me? I did, and next thing you know, they're signing up for teacher training. And I thought, well, I'm there for a long time, I'm only doing 3 hours a day, why not do the teacher training in the day and sing at night? And I stopped smoking the day that I enrolled onto the course. And that was it. Not only did I become healthier, but I was way more focused as a singer, and I wasn't singing so much from an ego place that love me. I was just really focused on what I was doing. So I was seeing a lot of results, and that's where the passion comes from, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a long story.
So the Yoga Institute,
Mhm.
and you became a teacher, and then you continued your jazz singing career.
Yes.
You were in India for
4 more years.
4 more years.
Yeah.
5 years total.
I did one contract with Mr. B, that was a man called Rob, and then he wanted to go on the cruise ships, and I was like, oh, I've done that, I don't want to do that. And so I got offered another solo contract in a different place called Hyderabad, another Taj hotel. But I did it actually on my own without music, which was quite hard, just not with spoonies or anything, but with backing tracks, and I went on my own to India. And again, I was really seeing results in me getting better at singing.
And then yoga, 5 years of singing and still doing yoga while you were singing.
Yeah, I wasn't teaching yoga, but I was really actually doing a lot of self-practice and really kind of making it part of my thing. But the thing that happened was I worked for an orphanage, and I volunteered at an orphanage on a Sunday, and then we did a charity event, and I got talking to a guy that was running a boutique hotel, which was the same kind of company, Taj, and he kind of, not poached me, but got me from one hotel to another, and I started working for one of the best hotels in India. And it was through the orphanage and my yoga and doing charity that I got, that for me was the best part of my singing career. You know, working from people that were wealthy, successful, millionaires and billionaires, and to be under that roof from a central drive, this very rough area in Blackpool, I just felt like this yoga is really helping me to do stuff I thought I'd never be able to do.
Yeah.
Horse and carriage, rose petals, coconut baths. I was like, oh shit, I'm not Celine Dion, no. I don't think that I'm that good, you know. But yeah, I have a lot to thank yoga for, but I was confused about how it just all turned around.
And then you went back to the UK and started teaching?
Yeah, so I think, I can't remember what year, but I think I might have gone back the year before my grandma passed away. So I decided to make some roots. I was really transitioning. I was kind of getting, even as a singer in the boutique hotel, I was taking on the responsibilities of being a coach and HR, and I was getting a lot from trying to help people rather than just singing. And so I thought it was about time that I made a little bit of a business back at home, and I thought my family needed me, and everything that I was learning through yoga was like, you need to go back to your roots and maybe heal things with your mom and your brother. And so I was kind of drawn to go back home, really. And so I can't remember what year that was, but yeah, I started my little business.
And the business is just teaching yoga around Blackpool area.
Yeah, I think I started, so that cafe that I worked at called A Cube, they let me rent a space above, and one of my first lessons was above there. It was actually near a burger place, so when we were doing Shavasana, it stunk of meat. Everyone was getting hungry. And so yeah, it was like a sticky...
That's a bit. It could be a bit of torture for some people to have the smell of cheeseburgers in the background while you're doing yoga.
Yeah, it's like breathe in, breathe out. I'm hungry. Relax your digestive system. So yeah, that was kind of one of my first lessons, and I was still singing to obviously create that money that I needed to keep it going. But it was weird actually. I was doing about 2 lessons a week. I wasn't making money with it, and I probably wasn't charging as much as I should have been. This is why I'm really passionate now about helping young yoga teachers, is that there was something really sad that happened to me in a relationship. I got back my ex-boyfriend, and I became pregnant, and that it was, is ectopic, right? It's in the...
Ectopic? I don't know.
I don't know the medical name, but anyway, that happened, and the day that happened, I actually taught yoga. So even in all that, I really wanted to help people when I was going through a lot. So I really didn't put myself first, even when I was going through a lot. But I know that without yoga and how strong I was in that time that was really hard, I was really peaceful with it. I wasn't drinking, I wasn't suppressing it, I was dealing with it really well, and I know that that had a lot to do with yoga, and also having the responsibility of helping people.
Yeah. And so what led up to now to having a successful online yoga business? Like, what were the steps? Because I know from so many people that I meet, like especially traveling, you know, yoga has become very popular. There's so many people that are getting their yoga teaching certifications, but it's very hard to get a practice started, you know, like get yourself moving. There's plenty of places, and this is the same for permaculture, which is what I would love to do. Sustainability and permaculture is that you can find a farm anywhere that wants to have you come and help them, but they're giving you just accommodation and food, which is nice if you're just traveling around and you have excess money in the bank. It's the same with yoga teachers. There's studios all over the place, and there's like hostels and hotels that are like, yes, come teach yoga here. We'll give you a place to stay and we'll give you your meals, which, like I said, is nice, but eventually you need to make money somewhere.
And pay for flights.
No, it's not sustainable to continue to give your money for free. So maybe if there's some young yoga teachers that are just starting out there, maybe they would benefit from hearing a bit of the process leading up to what it is you're doing now.
Well, it was, I think, weirdly, all those pieces of the puzzle, coming from Central Drive, single parent family, I'm a father, being booed off stage, going on a cruise ship, traveling around the world, you know, all those kind of things were like pieces of the puzzle to become authentically me. So I think it's your hero's journey. Whoever you are, be you. And then in all the lessons that I ever did, and I connected with people, they really got something out of it. And I think it was because I was vulnerable and I was good at my job. And then when I left England, people really noticed that. They were like, oh, we really miss you, and there's not many yoga teachers that are like you. And I was like, okay, well then come on board if you want me to teach you. People were a little bit skeptical because they were like, oh, it's not in a... not physically not here. And I was like, well, let's give it a go and see if it works. And it was a really nice lady called Maria that was like, I want you to teach me wherever you are, whether you're online or not. And she really gave me the confidence to realize, because I'm uniquely me and I'm good at my job, people will follow me wherever I go. And I think the advice would be, be you, be authentically you, and then people will miss you. There's your power is you're you.
Yeah.
And I think everything...
there's a million yoga teachers, but there's only one Kelly Johnson, or there's only one Alan Reed.
There's only one Kelly Johnson. Yeah, I call myself, when I'm having my self-doubt days, I say, I'm Kelly fucking Johnson. I'm Kelly fucking Johnson. Yeah. So I think it's important to remember that. So whoever you are, put a fucking in between it and cheerlead yourself on. I think the biggest advice I could say is get true to who you are, be vulnerable, be you. People love that. The most beautiful thing is being yourself. And then people connect with you. And coming from good intentions, my intention wasn't make money. It was inspire people and guide people, because you can't fix people, guide people to get clarity.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I think that honesty and authenticity is really important for no matter what you do in your life, and not just for people being able to relate to you, but also for you to be happier. You know, when you're always trying to be somebody else or be what somebody else wants you to be, then you're not really being you. And that starts to kind of grind away at you a little bit in the long run. And the other thing about being truthful and honest is that you have to realize not everybody's going to like you.
What?
You know? I know, it's a hard thing to come across, especially, you know, for me. I was always very social, you know, one of the life of the party. I always have something to talk about with everybody.
It's not a nice feeling knowing that, but you've got to get over that.
Yeah, you have to, because you know you are exactly who you're supposed to be, and you're always changing. You're always growing. Yeah.
Before I forget, that I think my performing and singing and dancing helped me fall and get emotionally resilient, like falling off stage, showing my chest on stage, getting booed off stage. There's only so much that you're like, well, people are going to bloody judge me anyway, you know.
Yeah.
I think
showing your chest on accident on stage.
Yes, I didn't just go, like me, flash. Like me, show my boobies. No, I didn't do that. There was a bitch who I worked with, Cleo 90s, bless you, she swapped my bikini so I flashed on stage.
Yeah, so popped.
And yeah, it was like a class thing in the middle. But yeah, I needed to fall, and this is why everything happened for a reason in my life, to become strong and resilient. And then once you're like, well, you know, people are going to talk anyway, I just want to be myself, it's much easier being myself. And when you've been through all that, you're able to be authentic. So my advice would be fall, make a fool of yourself, and know that you can get up. You know, and it's okay to make mistakes as long as you get up, reflect, and realize that the judgments that people are going to have for you, because they're always going to have judgments, it doesn't really matter as long as you know who you are, and that's it.
Yeah, you know, a very wise and beautiful yoga teacher once told me that it's not how you fall, it's how you rise again after you fall.
Yeah, you know, I tell you, I work for a really nice school called Russell School in Fleetwood, and I used to tell the children, I used to go and push them over.
I used to work for a children's school teaching yoga where I pushed kids over.
Yes, not quite like that, but I was letting them know that you need to fall in order to rise, to increase emotional resilience very young. You know, we had a laugh about it. Like, everyone needs to be so perfect all the time, that we need to wobble in order to rise. And the children really got that. Like, they were like, oh, we're embarrassed. I'm like, don't worry, we all fall. But I think that that's what makes us stronger, and we're so afraid of being anything other than perfect that we don't, you know, we're worried about falling.
Yeah, that success, this idea that in order to be successful, we have to be good at everything that we do, you know, and that if we start something, you know, we have to see it through to the very end and make it this big perfect thing and make a lot of money and be better than everybody else at it, and it's just not realistic. You know, and I mean, even we like to live in a bit of a fluffy unicorn world and follow dreams and stuff, but at the same time, like, we have to know that everything we do, regardless of whether it works out the way we want it to or it works out completely different, you know, I might fall flat on my face, but that's exactly what needed to happen, and that's how I'm going to learn the biggest lesson. Because if we go through life only doing the things that we're good at, we never learn anything new, and we never grow and change as a person. And here's another thing that I love to think about for myself, is that so, you know, out of the trillions of cells that you have in your body, they're always changing, they're always regenerating, right? So your liver or your heart or your, you know, body parts, within 7 years, they've completely changed. All the cells in them are completely different to what they were before. And your thoughts are always changing. And we put so much emphasis on how people see us, but that's even a perception of how, or what we think they see when they look at us. And so when I started traveling, I realized when I go somewhere, I can be whoever I want to be. I can show up to a place and act exactly how I want to act, and nobody there knows me, and nobody there has any, you know, like expectation of what I should be. And the more I just did exactly what I want to do, the more I realized that, well, I can do that with the people that I know and with my family and everybody else too. You know, like there's nothing attaching me to the person I was when I was 17, except for my own memories and maybe some expectation that somebody has of me that knew me from that time. And once we can release that, then we can be exactly who we want to be all the time. And it's really great. And you can wake up in the morning and decide.
It's exhausting trying to be something you're not. We've heard some people, just an example of trying to be something you're not is exhausting.
Yeah.
Being yourself. So. And also having people around you that you're okay being yourself with. You know, I think we all have a little bit of bravado when we first meet people, but it's so much nicer to just be goofy and to be your unique self with people that totally get you. and you'll find your community. I think it's important now. I used to definitely be a people pleaser, like you said before, that, you know, the thought of someone not liking me, again, because I thought I wasn't enough. It was only until I realised that I am enough exactly who I am, which again fluctuates, that I didn't really care about other people's opinion, because I knew when I went to sleep I really liked the person that I was. And I'm becoming each day. So it's I think for me that is really important. Be yourself. How do you uncover the self? Yoga, meditation. Yourself. And I think it also fluctuates. There are some times when I'm totally in my power and myself, and I'm amazing. And then there's some days you wake up and you're like, oh my goodness, why do they think this about me? And with women, it's hormones, so it'll go up and down. But when I align myself with meditation, I'm able to be my true self, and I really do like that.
So want to tell us a little bit about meditation? Or somebody who's maybe just starting off that has heard about meditation but has that idea in their head, well, I'm no good at meditation, which is what I hear from so many people. Oh, I can't sit still. I can't not think about anything. I can't, so.
It's a weird one, isn't it? I think even the word meditation, it has so many different expectations and pressures around meditation. If you can't sit still, you probably need it more than ever, to be fair. And my yoga teacher in India was like, go sit underneath a tree. And I was like, oh. I sat underneath a tree. I had no real technique, I think I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing it. I think I really thought you had to clear your mind, and I think all these practices that I've learned in the ashrams, in India, different people, and actually failing, once again, I learned the most in meditation. To know that it's not about clearing the mind, it's about being more aware and controlling your thoughts. So the thoughts come and go, and just not letting the thoughts rule your life. I think the more that you sit down and you pay attention to them rather than suppressing them and flicking them away, you're letting them calm and go, and using the breath to again bring you back to the present moment, which is what yoga and meditation is all about, being here, now, as much as we can, not in our head. Then do it slowly. There are a lot of different simple techniques. And when you first start, you might need a little bit more guidance. Be really kind to yourself. It's not easy meditation, but it's completely worth it. And I believe the way I tell my students is that before meditation, it's like metaphorically having lots of bananas, apples and pears in one fruit basket, and they're all mixed up. Then after meditation, the bananas, the apples, the pears are in different little baskets. And that's how I feel with meditation, why I'm more focused, I have more clarity, and that white noise, that shit in your head, doesn't really rule you that much. So my advice would do like 2 or 3 minutes a day, small and often, with no pressure, and just slowly see yourself evolve. We constantly want self-gratification and quick results, but meditation really teaches us to unfold slowly. I love it. Thank you very much for interviewing me.
Yeah, of course. Well, then, about us.
Oh, how did we meet?
How did we meet? Where were you? What were we doing? What happened?
So, I wanted to talk a little bit about my relationship history.
Okay.
Without going, oh no, I don't want to talk about
All right. Okay. I've braced myself. I'm prepared.
Here's a beer. One of the biggest patterns I had was going through one relationship to another, a bit like Dave the Pig trying to find my love through another, which again, if Disney or movies maybe give me the impression that, once I found my love, then I was complete, And I do believe that every single relationship I had, good or bad, again, made me evolve and learn something. But there was a massive pattern that was happening in these relationships, and I was a bit like, oh my God, to the point that I was like, shit, it's me. And not in a kind of, oh, it's me, it's my fault, but what am I doing? So long story short, yet again, I went out with a guy, and it was kind of the end. I was like, oh, this is just getting exhausting now. So I was like, right, I'm going to Bali. I want to go to Bali for myself, to get to know myself again, to heal, because it really did, I kind of thought that, well, he basically said I made him cringe. Which is an awful thing, you think you like someone, and then previous to that I got dumped by 2 people via text message after being out with them for years, so I was like, oh my goodness, people are scared of telling me the truth, they have to text me. So it was kind of the end, and I was like, oh, I just need to go to Bali, I need to heal, I need to get clarity, and maybe just see the darkness and see what why this is happening. And so I got a job on Gilead, and I was loving my time there. I was there for months, taking myself out on dates, having flower baths. I was in such a very independent mode. I was doing my job really well, meeting really nice people. And then you walk in, and I actually took a vow of celibacy, saying I don't want any boys in my life. And just when I did that,
and I walked in, and I had been in Australia working, and I had actually been working at a sign shop in Darwin, where the guy had told me that he wanted to sponsor me, and we were going through the sponsor process. And I was on a bridging visa from the visa that I had before until the sponsorship visa came through, which kind of leaves me in limbo. I have to like be there, and I have to, you know, like just kind of wait around and see what happens. And I had gotten an extra visa that would allow me to leave the country for 2 weeks to go on vacation, and I was going to go to the Philippines for 2 weeks because I had worked really hard. At the time, I was sleeping in a little room upstairs of the sign shop that didn't even have a bathroom, that I had to like walk downstairs and unlock the door and walk through the offices and use the bathroom and the shower in there when I wanted to use it. But it was super cheap, and I was there by myself, so it was like, okay, I'm making money, so that's the important part. And then my flight was on, it was like a Tuesday or like a Thursday or Friday evening. I think it was Friday evening was my flight, and Thursday morning at about 10 o'clock while I was working, I got a text message from my boss, and it said, "Hey Alan, sorry to let you know, but I lost a couple contracts, and I'm not going to have any more work for you when you come back from the Philippines."
Rude.
Yeah, which was like, okay, I just did all of this work for him. You know, I'd been there for 6 months. I was going through a visa process to stay there, which was going to make a contract for us that I would be there with him for 2 years, which technically I wasn't even sure that I wanted to be there for 2 years, so secretly it's a bit of a blessing. But at the time it was like, I just lost my job, I just lost my place to stay, I just lost a visa that allows me to work in Australia, I'm here by myself, I don't know what I'm going to do, and I could have, you know, that could have been one of those things where you like flip out, freak out, do whatever, like my life is over, what am I going to do? I only have a little bit of money, I don't have a job, I don't have a place to stay, I'm in Australia, like whatever. But I decided, no, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity to do something that I've been wanting to do for myself. So I had that trip to the Philippines. I packed up a box of stuff from Australia, shipped it, took one small backpack, went to the Philippines. I also immediately booked my permaculture design course, which I had been wanting to do for so long, and it was in Thailand at this awesome farm, and I had a little bit of time in between the Philippines and that awesome farm, so I went to Gilead, which is a beautiful little island in Indonesia, and I checked into this little yoga place where I could chill out by the beach. There's a pool there, do yoga, relax, you know, get my mind straight. And went up to the front desk, and there was this beautiful woman there at the front desk. I was wearing a blue shirt that had the California flag on it. It was a Ween, the band Ween shirt. And Caitlin was like, she was from California, or had lived there before, and she was like, "Ooh, I like your shirt." And Kelly turned and said, "I like his eyes." And I was like, "Oh, all right."
And then,
hello.
I don't know where that came from. And Caitlin was like, "You're looking into the edge of his soul." And I was like, "No, I'm not."
So then I asked the questions that I was there to ask, and then Kelly was like, "Oh, would you like doing an introduction to meditation course, and it consists of this, and this, and like at the time, of course, I had done a Vipassana like maybe 6 or 7 months before that, which is like 10 days straight of no speaking, no phone, no anything, just meditation, like 10 hours a day for 10 days straight, complete silence. And then I had kept that, so I had kept that practice up pretty well on my own. So when she invited me to that introduction to meditation course, I was like, oh, thank you very much for the offer, but you know, I have a pretty good practice already.
You didn't say thank you for the offer.
No, I just said, oh, my practice is pretty good.
I'm pretty good at my practice. And I was like, oh, so you can levitate then?
Yeah. So she asked me if I could levitate, and I was a bit speechless, and I was like, okay, thank you guys, and walked off. But I knew she liked my eyes.
I did.
So then I waited for the perfect opportunity to talk to her, which was while she was doing handstands in the pool as I walked by, and I was asking her about a yoga class, and we started chatting, and then...
And my take on that is that I was practicing, and they came up, and I was like, bloop, 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 and he was like, hello, and his nice little eyes again, and I was like, oh, I hope I didn't have a boogie. And then we started talking, and we talked that much, I had shrivelly fingers.
Yeah. And she invited me out to a little local restaurant for some food. Yes.
Oh, I did.
And
I wore a waistcoat. It's not like I was being all feminine. I wore like a little waistcoat.
Yeah, no,
this is not a date.
And you also said, I'm meeting some friends up at a little local place down the road. Would you like to go?
So I was still nope.
Yeah. But then that went so well with us talking and chatting that that we knew we had to go out again. And so it was the night after that,
pizza and beer.
2 nights after that, I invited her out for the winner, which is pizza and beer. Nobody can resist pizza and beer. So yeah, and we just hit it off. But then I left the next day after that, no?
No, you did. But remember when we went to that date, you brought a present, weirdly, and I brought a present.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
brought you a little, like, for people that are
Flower of Life necklace.
A Flower of Life necklace, which is this for people that can't see. Sacred geometry for people on audio. And Alan got me a unicorn keychain.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, how does he? Oh, and you found that weirdly, didn't you?
I did. I found that keychain.
And that was weird how we brought a present for each other.
Yeah, we both brought presents, not knowing that the other one was going to, and they were both amazing.
I want to say something. In the fact that, you know, I went out there, and I obviously wasn't looking for boys or anything. I was really consuming myself. So many of my clients asked me, you know, like there's been a few of my clients that want babies and want to find love, and what we do as human beings, we're trying to control it, trying to figure out, you know, when am I going to find a person, when am I going to get pregnant. And I do believe that I let go when I went to Bali, completely just within the present moment, enjoying it, and then poof, and they met you. And that's what happens with my clients. When they let go and surrender, don't even think about what they want, that's when it comes in. And that's my theory behind all this. Again, I was ready, and I believe that I was emulating a frequency that is awesome, fucking awesome, like you.
Yeah.
So it's only until you can attract something that you are, and I think like that.
Yeah, I think there's for sure a certain amount of work that you need to put into yourself, but at a certain point you don't, if you're grasping for something that you want, then you start to like negotiate it, you start to settle with things, because it's like, I want this so bad, something that's close to it but you're not 100% sure about comes along, and you jump on that because
what do you mean?
Because of something that you want. Yeah. No, nothing intended with jumping on anything.
No.
Yeah, so when you know what you want, but then you let go and you don't worry about what the outcome is going to be, and you stay in the present moment and you just live your life to the best of your ability, that's when things manifest on their own and seem to just show up into your life.
Yeah.
It was the same. We traveled together. So I had gone to Thailand, did the permaculture thing. I came back and visited her in Gilier again. I went to Lombok to work on a little eco-hostel place with the permaculture farm and some natural building that I was doing for them. Kelly went to Australia for a little while. We met back up in Thailand for a bit, and then, that was December of 2017, we both split ways, and
4 months, right?
you went back to England,
Yeah.
and I went back to the United States. And I was working, you were working, and I did a job in the Canary Islands, and I came and visited you around like March, April.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was there for your birthday. But then again, you know, after I visited her for like 3 weeks, I went back to the United States. So we were continuing our relationship, but we didn't know when we were going to see each other,
It's weird
when
that
we were going to be together again.
we didn't know when, but intuitively I knew.
Yeah.
I knew we were going to see each other, I just didn't know when. And that trust, and weirdly, my self-worth or my mental, my mental state was, you know, when you're waiting for the text from someone, like, oh, I hope they text, why don't they text, or whatever. And that never happened when we were apart. I was like, oh, awesome, he's text, but I'm enjoying the moment, I'm enjoying my time in England, and oh, you text, you know, like, rather than waiting. And I think that was also the difference between, there was something very nice between us that was very kind of, you know, I trusted you, I wasn't trying to fill a void, you added something to my life, you know what I mean? So being apart was really nice. We had to individually do our things, and when you called and stuff, it was an extra bonus rather than filling a void that I didn't have.
Yeah, it's amazing to be able to have something, but then to have that trust and to let go of those, you know, insecurities or anxieties, and just know that whatever is going to happen is going to happen. And then we ended up with an amazing offer for a job in Costa Rica.
Yeah, and it's weird, like, we knew we wanted to go to Costa Rica, and I was put it on my vision board and all that kind of stuff. I bought a top that I could see myself wearing in Costa Rica, and I could see the shala, and I was manifesting it every day. In fact, I was contemplating it through meditation, and there was a post on Yoga Trade, and I saw it, and it seemed perfect. And as soon as I saw the picture of the shala, I was like, that's it, that's where we're going. And then I think someone got the job, or the post disappeared, and weirdly I copied and pasted it, put it on my laptop, and 7 weeks later the job came back up in Yoga Trade. Next thing I know, I'm on the phone to Jill, she's a jazz singer or music, we had a lot in common, and I asked her if she wanted a gardener or a permaculture guy as well, and poof, we got a job.
Yeah, so the job wasn't there. Kelly took the photo of the yoga shala that she wanted to work in, and she put it on her laptop so she could see it every day and imagine herself in this place teaching yoga.
While I was at my brother's pub serving people, and they're like, why am I mushy peas? And I'm like, Om Shanti Shanti. I think, oh God, oh chef, hands down the sink, serving meat with people shouting at me.
Yeah.
I'm meditating, manifesting.
Yeah. And so then the job came back up, and it was just for a yoga teacher, like you were saying. There was no job for me to do. And you asked them, you said, hey, my partner is a permaculture farmer, and he's awesome, and he this and that, and they were like, oh yeah, we have a garden here, we'd love for him to come and stay, blah blah blah, you know. And I was like, what? It was really nice. So we ended up in Costa Rica. We were there for 3 months with Jill and Bob, two lovely people. They have a retreat center called Amatierra.
Yeah, check
it's
it out.
It's a really nice place. It's quiet. The yoga shala is amazing. It overlooks the jungle. There's white-faced monkeys. There's toucans. There's all this stuff. They grow a lot of amazing produce themselves. The rest of the stuff that they get from all the local farmers, the organic markets. They get, you know, fish from the fishermen down like at the coast, fresh off the boat, get it and bring it back. So it's a really lovely place if you were looking for that. Yeah, Jill's a herbalist and does Chinese medicine, and yeah, it's really lovely. I had some of the best massages that I've had in my entire life.
By Noema.
Yeah, Noema.
I don't know her website, but very
No, yeah, we can put a link on there if you're down in Costa Rica.
Noema.
Noema's amazing.
Jill and Bob, Amatierra, Noema.
Yeah.
We've had some dodgy massages.
Yeah, we have.
I got burnt.
It's hard because, you know, Thailand and Indonesia and stuff, you can get a massage for like $5, $7 for like an hour, which is really great. But then sometimes it's like, and then like you worry sometimes with the Thai massage, because if you're getting like a specific Thai massage, they do all kinds of things where they like pull you and bend you and like crack you and stuff, and it's like, do I really want to pay $7 for some random lady on the street to like, yeah, like I'm gonna have to get like a hip replacement and see a chiropractor for a year after this, you know?
It's funny.
Nothing's ever been that bad, but it's
funny.
Scary.
I think when you've had a good massage, like No Emma, or Louise Jolly, who I love very much in England, once you know a good massage, that when you have someone, and it's not their fault they don't have training, it's a really weird thing where you're on the bed, you're massaging, and again, you can't really relax because you're thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing? But to have that actually authenticity, which comes back to yoga again, of, you know what, I'm okay, thank you. You know, I don't feel that.
Yeah.
You know, being peaceful. Because I've done that in a few massages. Like, you know, it's important that I tell you that I just don't feel like this is making me relax.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I got scolded, didn't I? Someone put hot rock on my back.
Yeah, they do hot stone massage where they heat up the rocks and then put them at different points in your back. And the lady heated the rocks up too hard, and Kelly had a big mark on her back from where she got burned from a rock. It's like, ugh, not going there.
Yeah, I know. But it's a funny one, and I said this the other day in one of my Facebook lives. Stuff can happen to you, you can let it burn and scold you for life and scar you, or you can go, you know what, every day is a new day. You try another massage, and I paid $7 for another massage of the day, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
So you really can't. It's like a lucky bag, and a bit like life, you just don't know, do you?
No, you don't know, and you kind of have to, like, I think as a tip for what I've learned in my life is to kind of just roll with it, you know? When things happen, you kind of just gotta, like, you know, not take any of it too seriously or get too worked up about any of it, you know? Like, it was the same, when we left Costa Rica, it was like, you know, one thing after another was just like causing problems, and instead of freaking out, we surrendered to it, and we ended up coming to Bali instead of going straight to Thailand, and we had wonderfully productive and amazing 3 weeks in Bali. I built Kelly's website, you know, like we just felt inspired and creative, and we're back here now because of those 3 weeks that were caused by all of these things going wrong, one after the other, that instead of us getting upset about, we just said, hey, you know what, this is obviously pushing us in another direction, what should we do?
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny though, isn't it? Something happens to you and you can either react or have the higher self question of, why is this happening to me? And I remember when we went to the airport and they were like, you're at the wrong airport. I was like, I'm just going to the toilet. With my mala beads, I was like, I am not. I am strong, I am healthy, I am not. I was like, okay, I need to calm down.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing is, like, you show up, find out your tickets were booked from SJC, not SJO, which is San Jose, California, not San Jose, Costa Rica, which look exactly the same when you're looking at them on the computer. But anyways, what do you do? Like, what are you supposed to do now? Like, I am here, it is 5 o'clock in the morning in Costa Rica at an airport. I don't have a flight to leave here. I don't have a place to go to from this airport to get out of here. Like, now I'm stuck in the airport until I figure out what to do. And you have two options. You freak out, flip out, the world is coming to an end, oh my God, poor me, like, what, you know? Yeah. Or you just, this is what's going on, let's handle it. Yeah. You know?
I think, I mean, I love you so much, but I love your awareness and your higher self. Because I remember you saying, why is this happening? You know, you said that in the heat of the moment, and I was like, yeah, I wonder why. And we actually did a video about this, so I want to nutshell this story. But long story short, when I worked at that best hotel in India, I met 2 FBI agents, told them I didn't have a father, and they said, have you ever met your father? And I said, no, and then they found him and gave me a few numbers that might be him, because he lived in LA. Mm-hmm. This particular thing that happened ended up making us that we were in LA.
Yeah.
And you actually, synchronicity for you to be with your friend as you not seeing him, and he needed you in that time. Yeah. And then we ended up watching a film, which was Lion or something like that.
Yeah, we at Alex's house, he had some DVDs, one of which was Lion, about this Indian boy who got lost from his family and ended up in Australia and grew up and never saw his parents really, and then like decided to go and find them. And that we just happened to watch that movie while we were in LA, not knowing why we were stuck in LA. And her father, who she never met, who we had some phone numbers for possibilities of who he might be, were right there while we were in LA. And he lived in California. I don't think he was still living in LA, but yeah. So what happened then?
Well, I was like, Alan, will you ring Kim? We were on an air mattress and I had the covers over me and I was like, doing like squeezing my eyebrows, and you did the phone call.
Yeah.
I was ready though. I was prepared for the phone call, and again, all this self-worth that I created, I was prepared. But it did take me 3 years after I got the phone number to do it, and then you called, didn't you?
Yeah, I called and rang up. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Before coffee time.
And you have to understand that this person is now 70 or 71, something like that.
His name,
years old. And yeah, so I called, the phone was answered with it like, which I interpreted as, why the fuck are you calling me at 8 o'clock in the morning?
Who are you?
And there was a hello, and it's like, hi, my name's Alan. I'm calling for a friend of mine. I'm looking for Bruce Woodcock. Oh, oops. Anyways.
If you're out there.
Yeah, if you're out there, this is the lovely Miss Johnson.
Hello.
I mean,
thank you.
There's no reason not. Thank you very much for making her. I'm feeling very, very blessed to have her in my life. If you ever wanted to meet her, you know where to find her now. But anyways, so I was like, yeah, is this so and so? And he was like, yes. Who is this? And I said, yeah, my name is Alan. I'm calling for a friend of mine. Did you used to live in the UK? And he said, yes. Who is this again? And I said, well, I'm calling for my fiance, Kelly Johnson. Actually, you weren't my fiance, right?
No, it's before Christmas.
Okay. Anyway, so I'm calling for my partner, Kelly Johnson. Her mother's name, yeah, she was like, oh, say Tracy, say Tracy. And I was like, her mother's name was Tracy Johnson, and there was like a and then a silence, but a thick silence that you could like cut through the tension in the silence, and it was probably like 10 seconds of silence followed by no, I don't recall. And I was like, oh yeah, I bet you don't recall.
I don't get my checkbook out.
And so I was just like, okay, well, thank you. Look, you have my number now. If you're interested in getting in touch with us, you know how to do it. Bye. And hung up the phone.
And I sent a message after.
And then Kelly sent a message with her email.
I'm Kelly fucking Johnson. And I don't want anything.
Yeah, I don't want anything from you. Just wanted a bit of closure or possibly friendship, but that's it. So anyways, but that was a big breakthrough.
Yeah, right? Massive. And it's weird because, again, I believe in synchronicity and divine intervention and really going with the flow, but everything just kind of, pushed us to be in LA, to do the phone call. And then for me to kind of, and I laugh about it, like, I found my dad and he said he didn't recall. There was a lot of processing that went on, but it wasn't like, I was a little bit like, floaty for a day or two. But then all of a sudden I was like, yes. I'm in my power, I'm strong, this isn't like breaking me. This is making me realise that, okay, that's his stuff. I send him compassion, obviously he wasn't ready for the phone call. And also, like, his rejection didn't reflect on me. And also, with him being exactly who he's supposed to be, made me exactly who I am, who I really love and honour. So without him not being there and me going full circle, travelling around the world to find myself, it actually brought me to, you know what, it's okay. Yeah. And it was a really nice feeling. And it wasn't something that I suppressed myself. I usually would with Cosmos and, talking bad about him. I really saw it from a bird's eye perspective. And I was delicate and a little bit, processy. And Mama Barley really helped me. And just scooped me up.
Yeah, and that's something that Kelly and I have talked about a lot too, about parents. There's this, when we're young, we have this idea of what a mother's supposed to be and what a father's supposed to be, and we have this pedestal that
Expectation.
this expectation of how they're supposed to act and how they're supposed to treat us and who they're supposed to be in their lives. And when we're kids, we can't see them as anything else but a mother and father, because that's what we need. But as we grow up, we have to learn that our parents are just people. They're people just like I'm a person, and I have my own feelings and I have my own issues and I have things that I'm dealing with. And so it's really important for us to when we come into adulthood and become our own human beings, to let go of that expectation of what a mother is supposed to be or a father is supposed to be, and let them just be people. And when we do that, we see them from a different perspective, and it's so much easier to forgive them for things and to have compassion for them for things that we might have held on to from our childhood. They should have done this or they should have done this. And it's like, well, they had a lot of shit going on back then. Like, I can't imagine going through some of that stuff. So
yeah, it's a weird one, because there was a point in my life, we'll cut this off because we're going to go for hours.
Yeah, that's true.
There was a point in my life I didn't get on with my mom, and I tell this nugget of knowledge to my clients, also to anyone that wants to listen, that to take the label away mother and just see her as a person doing her best, Tracy Johnson on planet Earth, really helped me, one, take away all the expectation, but seeing the story from a different perspective. And I really thought, you did a lot, and you really helped me, and again made me the person who I am today. Again, I could go into that victim story. And it was only once I took the label away that I really was able to accept what's happened and to see it a little bit, not just from my perspective. So I think that's really important in any scenario, and have compassion. And then maybe, I was born with a blood clot in my eye and my ear, and I was to go to hospital all the time. I've actually got a corneal transplant, and my mum religiously took me to hospital on the train when she had no money. And I think about those times and I think, what an amazing woman.
Yeah.
What an amazing woman. Anyway.
Yeah, well, before we go, we'll talk just for a moment about Yoga with Kelly J, which is your website. It's yogawithkellyj.com, and it's a website that I built for you in November. And Kelly has been doing amazing lessons. She does one-to-one lessons with people, which are mentoring, meditation, yoga, and really, it's so lovely to see, because she's so passionate about seeing results from her students. It's not about getting somebody into a repetitive pattern of just coming to a class and paying their dues each week or each month or whatever, but really watching people grow, watching people come into their own power. I think it's just phenomenal what you do, and I love to see how happy and excited you are after every single lesson that you teach. So if you're interested in mentoring or yoga, meditation classes, anything like that, please feel free to check out her website. It's yogawithkellyj.com. She has courses coming up that are starting in June 1st.
Yeah, June 1st, right? That's my 4-week. And then from August, I'm actually going to go into my 3-month course.
It's a 3-month course. Really growing. 3 months, what can you do? 90 days potential. Right?
Yeah, it's amazing. I feel very honoured to do it as well, but I think one of my things behind it and my intention is knowing that everyone has individual journeys that all talked about individually with ours, and that the lessons kind of are bespoke. There's yoga therapy in there, there's actually doing the asanas and the breathing techniques just for your journey, and holding space so the person can get clarity. But my massive thing is to see people grow, like you just said, and I feel very, very honoured. And all these experiences which I created, I'm able to guide. Again, not fix, guide people. And if they're really ready for self-development, I love it more than anything in the world. Loves.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. It was a pleasure to chat with my favorite human being in the entire world. We're getting married in November, and I'm just about as excited as can be about that. In case you guys are just listening, we just did a sweet handshake that involved like all kinds of high fives and like a rainbow at the end of it. Yeah, so thank you guys so much. This is Real People with Real Ideas, brought to you by Sustainable Intentions. Thanks for listening, and check out the website sustainableintentions.com.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Kelly.